everybody. Welcome back to Fun Facts with Faith. Today we are going to be following up on the 1904 Olympic Marathon, as promised. This story, man, wild. So, to recap, it's 1904. We're in St. Louis. The World's Fair is happening. It's also the Olympics, and now we're about to hold the signature event, the marathon, which was conceived to honor the classical Greek heritage of the games. Okay, so this is like serious business. But as it turned out, it was actually an utter debacle. So, first were the runners. There were a handful of experienced marathoners who had run the Boston Marathon before, or participated in previous Olympics, but there were also some just very interesting, colorful characters. These included an American named Fred Lors, who trained at night because he had a day job as a bricklayer. Two men from the Tswana tribe of South Africa who were in town for the South African World's Fair exhibit, and showed up apparently at the starting line barefoot. They were also the first Black Africans to participate in the Olympic Marathon. And then there was 5-foot-tall Cuban national and former mailman, Anderin Carvajal, who, upon arriving in New Orleans from Cuba, promptly lost all his money in a dice game and had to hitchhike to St. Louis. And he showed up in normal clothes with nothing to run in and had to cut his pants off at the knee. So, secondly, there was the course, which included 7 hills, some of which with absolutely brutally long ascents. There were lots of places where there was just cracked stone and debris scattered over the roadway, because a lot of the area around this at the time was not developed yet. And so the runners were having to sort of run over that. They were having to dodge traffic, trains, trolleys, and the cars that carried doctors and their coaches that were driving alongside them were kicking up huge amounts of dust. It was over 90 degrees out, and there was a massive amount of humidity, but there were only 2 water stations at 6 miles and 12 miles. Because James Sullivan, the chief organizer, was running an experiment on the limits and effectiveness of purposeful dehydration. Obviously, IRBs had not been invented yet, because this is just mind-blowing. Okay, so we are not setting ourselves up for success here. So the actual race. All right, well, everybody goes off the starting line. Fred Lors has the lead at the start, but then after about a mile, he gets passed by experienced marathoner Thomas Hicks. And then sort of various pitfalls start happening to the other competitors. Len Tao of South Africa gets chased off the course by wild dogs. He has to go a mile out of his way. But he actually still ended up coming in 9th, so good for him. Anderin Carvajal kept stopping to chat with people that were watching. And he was really hungry because of the losing all of his money and having to hitchhike thing. So he stole some peaches from some people who were watching, and then he ran past an orchard and decided to have some of the apples, but they were rotten. So then he started getting stomach cramps. So he was all right, well, I'm gonna stop and take a nap. What even is this? He still finished 4th. At this point, another experienced runner, Sam Mellor, was in the lead, but he started having very severe cramps. Let your runners drink water, and he had to stop. So now we're at mile 9. Mile 9, Lors starts having cramps too. That's the bricklayer guy, by the way. So Fred Lors starts having cramps, so he has to kind of drop out, and he hitches a ride in one of the cars that's driving alongside. 10 miles, Thomas Hicks, our experienced marathoners and one of the favorites to win, starts struggling. And he's begging his support crew for a drink, but they will not give it to him. He gets to like 7 miles from the finish line. And then his support team doses him with strychnine and egg whites. They give him rat poison because it's a stimulant. And apparently there were no rules about performance-enhancing drugs at the time. So, great. He is still running while being poisoned. 19 miles. Californian William Garcia collapses on the side of the road. Has to be taken to the hospital. He's got terrible internal injuries, including like gastric hemorrhage from having inhaled all of the like road dust and debris that was kicked up by the cars. Meanwhile, Fred Lors, who's driving in the car, his car breaks down, so he gets back on the course. He finished the marathon with a time of about 3 hours. Supposedly, like, Alice Roosevelt was about to hang the gold medal around his neck when somebody finally interrupted to be like, hey, this guy cheated. And of course, Lors tried to pull the, like, it was only a joke thing, which did not go over super well. He still got banned. Meanwhile, back to Hicks. Hicks is not doing well. But when he hears that Lors has been disqualified, he starts to perk up a little bit. He gets another dose of rat poison, this time washed down with some brandy because, you know, let's just mix all of our substances. He finished the last couple miles of the race, but apparently just looked like crap. One of the race officials described him as dull, lusterless, ashen, running as if he was like tied down by weights. Like, this dude was like barely standing. He started hallucinating, thinking that he was still 20 miles from the finish line. He was begging for food. He begged to lie down. He got more brandy because that's very logical, I guess. He makes it at the last 2 hills. He's like shuffling himself into the stadium where the finish line is. His trainers had to literally carry him over the line, like suspend him in the air while he was moving his legs as if he was running. And somehow that was allowed, and he was declared the winner at 3 hours, 28 minutes, and 45 seconds, the longest finishing time in Olympic marathon history, by a lot. Other fun statistic, of the 32 runners who started the race, 14 finished. So, you know, not that I was planning on running a marathon anyway, but after hearing this, I am even more secure in my desire to never run unless 1, chased by a bear, or 2, late for the bus. So, I will stick to sedate walks in Forest Park. Thank you very much. All right, that's it for today. I don't know if this was a fun fact, but it was interesting. But I will see you tomorrow for another fun fact related to poetry.